have days when we don't really know what to draw, and we, you know, sort of lack inspiration sometimes, and we think, what are we going to do today? And on those days, I think the best thing you can do is just to have a play. So here I'm just messing about with my Inktense blocks. So just wetting the paper there, the whole thing, and I've popped some bluebells in front of me out of the garden, and I'm just going to have a play with them, using different colours, mixing the colours on the paper, not really knowing what I'm doing, but sometimes it's just a good idea to push your materials, see what your materials can do, see what you can do, mix different colours together that you wouldn't normally mix together, and just have a bit of fun and just relax, put some music on. Don't worry if it goes wrong, don't worry if you make a mess, it doesn't matter if you throw it away, it's just for you to loosen up, have a bit of fun, relax, and not worry too much about the end outcome. This way you sort of develop your drawing skills, and you know, it frees you up. You think about doing things that you wouldn't normally do. If something really works, you might use it again later in a different painting. You might use a colour you've never used before and think, yes, I'm going to use that in a different painting or a technique. So just to talk through what I've actually done, so I've just got the Bluebell in front of me, wet the paper, and then I've picked up one of the Inktense blocks and just drawing with it straight onto the wet paper, and you can see how it dissolves into the paper. So that was a purpley kind of colour. As you know, they don't actually have colours as such, they have numbers on the end of the Inktense blocks, so it's worth making a note of those numbers in case you want to buy that colour again. I've got the 24 set and it's got some beautiful colours in it. So I started with the one that's a purpley colour. This is like a sage green. They've got some beautiful greens. They're quite natural looking. So I've just done the stem with that, just picking the stick up and drawing. And now I'm going to add some actual water to the blocks and paint with it. So just mixing things about really, and just playing with them and seeing what I can achieve with them. I'm hoping that this voiceover is going to be in sync with what I'm doing, but I'm not entirely sure it will be. So here I've got the brush, and I think I'm just putting water on at that stage, just getting the stem a bit straighter and just, you know, uniform, a bit more uniform than it was. But as you can see, I've not worried too much about my drawing. It's just a loose, really loose drawing. I'm putting some of this blue on. This is like a sort of a halfway between a cerulean and a cobalt blue. It's really nice. You can make, if you make a wash of it with plenty of water, you can make a nice summer sky. And the good thing, of course, with the Inktense is that once they're dry, they're permanent, so you can just paint more on top of them. So again, if you did make a mess and you really wanted to change it, because perhaps some of the parts of your work had worked and others hadn't, you could sort of change bits of it and cover them up with some different colours, because it's permanent once it's dried. So unlike watercolours, you can put more colour on top of it and block it out. So again, just some more of that bluey colour, and I think I'm mixing the purple that I used to draw as well. I've put some extra of that in the actual flowers as well. This is one of the Spanish bluebells out of the garden, so as you can see, it has bells on either side. The English bluebells only have bells down one side of the stem, so that's how you know the difference. So if you have got English bluebells nearby, don't plant any Spanish ones near them, because they will take over from them, so it's nice to preserve the English ones. So again, yeah, I'm just mixing the blues on the paper, so the paper's still very wet, so I'm popping both the blue and the purple and letting them bleed in together. And I think I've actually used a couple of different blues there. And I'm going to add a bit of the pinky colour as well, because sometimes when you look at bluebells, they do have quite a bit of mauve and pink in them as well, depending on the light. And now just putting some extra different colours on the stem, perhaps a bit of light, a bit more yellow. Again, the stem's all different tones and shades depending on which way the light is coming. And they have these little flicky bits to the bluebell, so you know, the way I'm flicking my brush is to get these like little leaves that have been the case of the bud, and then they sort of come out in these, if you look carefully you'll see them, they come out in these nice lines. So I'm just really playing here, not worrying what the outcome is, not worrying if I make a mess of it at any point. just working very quickly. I think it's only about 10 minutes. This is in actual time. I haven't edited it at all. I'm just talking through it. I've not chopped anything out. Usually I chop it out when I'm mixing my colours up and things like that, just to stop you being bored, but I've just left it as it was so you could see that this is, you know, the kind of thing I do from time to time, just especially in the morning before I start my work. It's nice just to have a play, have a bit of a relax with some music, like I said before, and you know, just see what I can do with a different medium. So there, I'm just lifting it out a little bit. It does, while it's very wet, as you can probably see by the shine that my paper's actually very wet, and whilst it is still very wet, you can lift it out a little bit if you feel like you've made a mess. Again, putting some extra of that purple in. As you can see, I'm not really drawing much at all with my brush. I'm just popping the colours in and letting them move into the other colours that are already there. So if you've got the Inktense, just have a go and do a combination of both, picking the blocks up and drawing with them, and painting with them, and making washes with them as well. I haven't done that much in this video, but you can make some really nice washes with them, and mixing the colours together as well, you can get some really nice colours for skies and landscapes and things. So this is a darker green, probably going up the other side of the stem to make it perhaps as if there was a bit more shadow on that side of the stem, and redefining some of the lines. Because it's so wet, some of those lines have sort of bled out and they're not as sharp as they were, so you can come back later and make them sharper. Just playing again. I think when I'm pausing there, it's probably my little brain thinking, what am I going to do next? So yeah, again, just reinforcing some of those lines that I put in earlier, and adding some extra lines. So I've got a combination of some soft paint, some lines, and some, you know, get some contrast going on. Darks and lights, soft edges, hard edges. And it just intensifies the colour each time I'm adding more as well, layering it on top of each other. So I think now I'm probably thinking about, do I do a background or not? And I decided, because I'd gone for lilacs and blues, I'd go on to the opposite side of the colour wheel to make it really jump out, and I've gone for some orange in the background, which is probably not a colour you would see behind a bluebell naturally, unless it was the last year's leaves still on the floor in the wood or whatever. But yeah, just to make a little dramatic painting, really, just putting the orange against its opposites. And I'm still putting extra pink in the flowers there. Like I say, I hope that this voiceover is going to be in sync with the painting that I'm doing. If not, you'll have to forgive me. I don't know if you can hear the wind outside. It's an absolutely beautiful day out there. Really sunny and warm, but it is howling with wind. So if you hear some banging, that's what it is. The branches on the roof outside. So yeah, so now wetting the paper around it again, because it started to dry out a little bit. Like I say, it's a warm day, so it's dried out a little bit. So I'm just re-wetting the paper there, and then I'm going to pop some of that orange colour in. You can just see how that orange really makes the purples and the blues stand out, as opposed to having just the white paper behind. Okay, so that's about it really. I'm just going to carry on and finish that background. So yeah, if you're struggling for inspiration, and you know, if you're not sure what you should paint today, just have a play, and it doesn't have to be with your Inktense. It could be with your watercolours, it could be with Brusho, it could just be with a pencil or some charcoal, and just pick a flower out of the garden or pick an object up off the side, put it in front of you, and just keep going. Just, you know, don't stop and overthink things. Just start making some marks. Don't worry if it's going to go in the bin afterwards, if it's you know, you're not happy with it. It's just for you to progress and to get some ideas together. So yeah, have fun with it, and it'll help you after that think, oh yeah, I'll have a go at that in something else, or it'll, you know, give you an idea for doing something else. So here I've probably used colours I've never used before. I don't think I've used that orange much from the Inktense, but it is a nice colour. Okay, so have fun with it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if there's anything else you would like me to do, especially in the Inktense, I've done 1 or 2 Inktense ones. I'll put a link to some of those at the end. But just let me know if there's any subjects that you particularly like to see. And once again, thank you very much for watching, and I'll look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye for now.